My daughter left me for dead on Highway 95. Mile marker 127. Nevada desert. 97 degrees. No phone signal. My iPhone showing 2% battery, and Jenny driving away in her boyfriend's BMW without looking back. I should have been angry. Should have been begging. Should have been calling her name. Instead, I smiled. Started walking. See, Jenny had no idea what I was carrying in that old Ford pickup. Had no idea about the envelope Linda made me promise to keep sealed until her 30th birthday. Had no idea that her embarrassing father was holding something worth more than her boyfriend's entire trust fund. But she was about to learn what happens when you abandon the one person who'd never abandon you. Stay with me. This story gets justice. Let me back up 3 hours. It started at Jenny's apartment in Henderson, 27th floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Strip. Rent, $4,200 a month. I knew because I'd been helping her pay it for 6 months ever since she moved in with Brad. Bradley Wellington Thompson III. Yeah, that's his real name. Investment banker. Wears suits that cost more than I make in a month. Drives a BMW M8 competition. $80,000 car in case you're wondering. I was there to take Jenny to lunch, something we'd done every other Sunday for 3 years, ever since Linda died. Dad, we need to talk. Jenny was different that day, colder. She was wearing a designer dress, $1,200, if the tag I glimpsed was accurate, standing next to Brad like they'd rehearsed this moment. I'm listening, sweetheart. We're flying to New York tomorrow. Brad's being considered for a position at Goldman Sachs. That's wonderful news. I'm proud of... I need you to stop coming around. The words hit like a punch to the gut, but I kept my voice steady. What do you mean? Brad stepped forward. Look, Mike. Mr. Johnson, I corrected. Right, Mr. Johnson. The thing is, I'm going to be working with some very important people, people who matter in my industry. And well, he glanced at my work clothes. Steel-toed boots, Carhartt jeans, company shirt with my name embroidered on the pocket. Jenny's told me about your situation, and we think it's best if you maintain some distance. My situation. 3 years ago, when Linda was dying, I worked double shifts to pay for her treatment. Chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, the works. $125,847 in medical bills. Insurance covered some. I covered the rest. Sold my motorcycle. Took out a second mortgage. Borrowed against my pension. Whatever it took to give Linda every chance to beat that cancer. Didn't work. Jenny knew all this. She'd watched me sell everything I owned to save her mother. Watched me hold Linda's hand through 18 months of hell. Watched me bury the love of my life with dignity, even though I was broke. But apparently that made me an embarrassment. Jenny, I said quietly, is this what you want? She couldn't look at me. Dad, you have to understand. I've worked really hard to get where I am. MBA from UNLV. Internship at Merrill Lynch. I'm finally making something of myself. You're making $110,000 a year, I said. I'm proud of you. And you're an electrician, the way she said it, like it was a disease. I am. Brad's friends, they're different. They went to Yale, Harvard. Their families have money, real money. And when they ask about my background, you're ashamed of me. I'm being practical. Brad nodded approvingly, like she'd passed some test. I thought about Linda then. How proud she'd been when Jenny graduated college. How she'd made me promise to take care of our daughter, no matter what. How she'd spent her last coherent day writing that letter, making me swear I wouldn't open it until Jenny's 30th birthday. The letter that was sitting in my truck, along with the bank statements, the trust fund documents, the proof that Linda had left our daughter more money than Brad would ever see in his privileged life. $2.8 million. But Jenny didn't know about that. Had no idea her mother's family came from old money, railroad money, mining money, money that Linda never talked about because she'd been raised to value character over cash, money that was sitting in a trust fund, earning interest, waiting for Jenny to turn 30, 18 months from now. Okay, I said. Jenny blinked. Okay? If that's what you want, I'll respect it. She looked relieved. Brad looked smug. But I'd like to take you to lunch one more time. Just us, like we used to do with your mom. Jenny glanced at Brad. He shrugged. One lunch, she said, but make it quick. We have a flight to catch. That's how we ended up on Highway 95. Heading toward a little diner Linda and I used to love. A place called Desert Rose, about 40 miles outside Vegas. Jenny complained the whole way about my truck, about the cracked windshield, about the engine noise, about how people might see her in it. Halfway there, my truck overheated, steam pouring from under the hood, red warning lights flashing. I pulled over at mile marker 127, right in the middle of nowhere. "This is perfect," Jenny snapped. "Just perfect." I popped the hood. Radiator hose had burst. Simple fix, but I didn't have the parts. We'd need a tow truck. That's when I pulled out my phone. 2% battery. No signal. "We'll have to wait for someone to stop," I said. Jenny's face went white. "Wait! Dad, I have to be at the airport in 3 hours." "I'm sorry, sweetheart. Sometimes these things happen." She tried her phone. Same problem. No signal. For 20 minutes, we waited. No cars passed. Jenny got increasingly agitated, kept checking her phone, kept looking at her watch. Then Brad called on her satellite communicator. Some fancy device his company provided. "Jenny, where are you? The jet's waiting. My dad's truck broke down. We're stuck in the desert." "What? You've got to be kidding me. Do you know how much this flight costs?" Jenny looked at me, then at the broken truck, then at me again, and I saw something die in her eyes. The last trace of the little girl who used to help me fix engines in our garage. The little girl who'd made me Father's Day cards every year. The little girl who'd cried in my arms the night her mother died. "Brad," she said into the communicator, "send me your location. I'm coming to you." "Jenny, what are you doing?" She was already walking, pulling out her thumb, trying to hitchhike. "I'm getting out of here. This is insane, Dad. I can't miss this opportunity because of your piece of junk truck." "Sweetheart, just wait. Someone will come." "When? An hour? 2 hours? My whole future is on that plane." A delivery truck appeared in the distance. Jenny waved frantically. It slowed down. "Where are you headed?" the driver called out. "Henderson Airport. It's an emergency." The driver looked at me, standing beside my broken Ford. Oil-stained clothes, grease under my fingernails. Everything Jenny was trying to escape. "I can take you, miss, but I don't have room for 2. Jenny didn't hesitate. "That's fine. He can wait for a tow truck." "Jenny," she was already climbing into the passenger seat, already leaving. "I'll call you when I get to New York," she said through the window. The truck pulled away, left me standing in the desert, watching my daughter choose her new life over everything we'd built together. That's when my phone rang. 2% battery, but somehow it connected. Jenny's number. "Hello? Dad, it's me. I made it to Brad's jet." "Good. I'm glad you're safe." "Listen, I need to say something before we take off." Her voice was different, harder, like she'd been practicing this speech. "I'm listening. I can't keep pretending anymore. This thing we do, these lunches, this fake relationship where I pretend you're not holding me back, it has to stop." I leaned against my truck, felt the metal burning hot against my back. "What are you saying, Jenny?" "I'm saying I'm done. Done with your blue-collar life. Done with your rusty truck and your work boots and your poverty." "Poverty?" "Yes, poverty. Do you know what it's like for me? Having to explain why my father drives a 20-year-old Ford, why he lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in the worst part of town, why he can't even afford to fix his own truck." My apartment. $730 a month. I'd moved there after selling the house to pay Linda's medical bills. Jenny knew that. She'd helped me pack. "Jenny, you know why I know you made choices. Bad choices. You could have invested in yourself, gone to college, made something of your life. Instead, you settled for mediocrity. I raised you. You held me back." The words cut deep, but I kept my voice steady. "Is that really how you feel?" "It's how I've always felt, but I was too nice to say it. Too guilty about Mom, to be honest. But Brad helped me see the truth." "What truth?" "That you're an anchor, a weight dragging me down. And if I want to succeed, really succeed, I need to cut that weight loose." In the background, I could hear Brad laughing, could hear champagne glasses clinking. "So that's it?" I asked. "That's it. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't show up at my apartment. I'm starting fresh, and that fresh start doesn't include you. And your mother." Silence. "Jenny, what about your mother's memory?" "Mom's dead, Dad. She's been dead for 3 years." "And I'm tired of pretending that your grief is my responsibility." The line started crackling. Battery dying. "Jenny, before you hang up, goodbye, Dad." Click. I stood there in the desert, phone dead in my hand, daughter gone. 30 years of love and sacrifice reduced to a 5-minute conversation. But you know what I felt? Relief. Because Jenny had just shown me her true character. And Linda's letter, the one in my glove compartment, contained very specific instructions about character. Instructions about what to do if our daughter ever proved she didn't deserve the gift Linda had prepared for her. Instructions I'd prayed I'd never have to follow. I opened the glove compartment, pulled out the sealed envelope, Linda's handwriting on the front. For Michael, if Jenny ever forgets who she really is. My hands shook as I broke the seal. Linda's words, written in her hospital bed 3 days before she died. My dearest Michael, if you're reading this, it means Jenny has chosen status over substance, wealth over character, pride over family. The trust fund contains $2.8 million, money from my grandmother's estate, money I never told Jenny about because I wanted her to earn her own way first. But money means nothing without character. If Jenny has proven she lacks that character, then the money should go to someone who embodies the values we raised her with, someone who sacrifices for others, someone who gives without expecting anything in return. You know what to do. All my love, Linda P.S. The hospital has been good to us. Dr. Williams, the cancer ward, the volunteers who held our hands when we couldn't hold each other's. Maybe they could use Linda's gift more than our selfish daughter. P.P.S. In the safety deposit box, you'll find documentation proving the money came from my family. Jenny has no legal claim to it until her 30th birthday, and even then, only if she's proven worthy. The choice is yours, my love. I folded the letter carefully, put it back in the envelope. 20 minutes later, a state trooper found me, gave me a ride to town, called a tow truck for my Ford. That night, I sat in my $700 apartment with Linda's letter and a bottle of bourbon, and I made a choice that would change everything. The next morning, I called Tom Anderson. Tom had been our family attorney for 15 years, handled Linda's will, set up the trust fund. A good man who understood what real values looked like. Michael, good to hear from you. How are you holding up? I need to see you, Tom, about Linda's trust. Of course, is everything all right? Jenny's made her position clear. I think it's time to honor Linda's real wishes. Silence on the other end. Tom knew about the letter, had helped Linda write the contingency clauses. Are you sure about this, Michael? Once we make these changes? I'm sure. Come in this afternoon. We'll need to review everything. Tom's office was downtown, real mahogany, real leather, the kind of place that demanded respect. I showed up in my best clothes, the same black suit I'd worn to Linda's funeral. Let me get this straight, Tom said, reviewing Linda's letter. Jenny abandoned you on a highway? Told you she was done with your blue-collar life? Called you an anchor? Her exact words. Tom shook his head. Linda feared this might happen. That's why she included the character clause. He pulled out a thick folder. Trust documents, bank statements, investment reports. The current balance is $2,847,832.15, earning roughly $12,000 a month in interest. I whistled low. Even I hadn't realized how much it had grown. Linda's instructions are clear, Tom continued. If Jenny proves unworthy before her 30th birthday, the funds can be redirected to a charitable cause of your choosing. Specifically, she mentioned the hospital. Presbyterian Hospital, Cancer Ward. The same place where Linda received treatment. The same place where Dr. Williams fought for 18 months to save my wife's life. Where nurses worked overtime to keep Linda comfortable. Where volunteers brought us coffee and held our hands when we couldn't hold each other's. Tom pulled out fresh paperwork. I'll need your signature in 12 places. This will establish the Linda Johnson Memorial Cancer Research Fund. Full amount, no takebacks. And Jenny? Jenny gets nothing. The trust dissolves on her 30th birthday. The money goes to the hospital permanently. I thought about my daughter. Somewhere over Kansas, probably, sipping champagne, celebrating her escape from my embarrassing existence. Had no idea she'd just walked away from generational wealth. What about when she finds out? She won't. Not unless you tell her. The trust is private. Bank statements go to you as trustee. She has no legal right to information until her 30th birthday. And then she learns what her choices cost her. I picked up the pen. Heavy. Gold. The kind of pen used for important decisions. Tom, what kind of impact would this money have at the hospital? $2.8 million? It could fund cancer research for years. New equipment. Better treatments. Maybe help other families avoid what you and Linda went through. I signed the first page, then the second. Each signature felt like justice. There's something else, Tom said. Linda requested that when the fund is established, there be a public dedication ceremony. She wanted recognition for the medical staff who cared for her. How public? Hospital board members, major donors, medical staff, community leaders. She estimated maybe 200-300 people. Jenny would only know if someone told her. I signed the final page, dated it, August 19th, 2024. It's done, Tom said. The Linda Johnson Memorial Cancer Research Fund is now the legal recipient of the entire trust. Congratulations, Michael. You've just made the largest charitable donation in Presbyterian Hospital's history. I felt something I hadn't felt in 3 years, since Linda died. Peace. When's the ceremony? Linda requested it be held on the anniversary of her diagnosis, September 1st, 2 weeks away. Will there be media coverage? Local news, hospital newsletter, probably some social media from the medical community. I smiled. Perfect. That night, I sat in my apartment and wrote a letter of my own. Not to Jenny. She'd made it clear she didn't want to hear from me. To Linda. Dear Linda, I honored your wishes today. The money will save lives instead of funding champagne flights. It will help families who fight like we fought instead of enabling someone who throws away love like garbage. Jenny chose her path. Now she gets to walk it. I love you. I miss you. And I promise you this. The dedication ceremony will be everything you dreamed of. Your husband, Michael. I sealed the letter in an envelope, put it in the box with Linda's jewelry, her wedding ring, her hospital bracelet. And then I started planning for September 1st, the day Jenny would learn what her betrayal really cost her, if she bothered to pay attention. 3 days later, Jenny called. I was replacing a circuit breaker in a downtown office building when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. New York area code. Hello? Dad? It's me? Jenny's voice was different, strained, like she'd been crying. Jenny, how's New York? It's fine. Listen, I need to ask you something. I set down my tools, sat on a stepladder in the electrical closet. I'm listening. I tried to use my emergency credit card yesterday. The one you gave me for college, it was declined. The card, $5,000 limit. I'd been paying the minimum balance for 2 years, ever since Jenny maxed it out buying interview clothes. Oh, that. I canceled it. Silence. You canceled it? Yesterday morning. Also canceled your car insurance, took you off my cell phone plan. Closed the joint savings account we opened when you turned 18. Dad, what the hell? You said you were done with my blue-collar life. I figured that included my blue-collar money. That's different. Those are necessities. Are they? Dad, I need that card. New York is expensive. My first paycheck doesn't come for 2 weeks. Ask Brad. I can't ask Brad for money. We just started dating seriously. Then get a job. I have a job. Get a second job. Waiting tables, retail. Something to tide you over until that Wall Street paycheck arrives. The same kind of work I'd done to put her through college. The same kind of work Linda had done during her own college years. Honest work. Dad, you're being ridiculous. I said some things I didn't mean. Did you? What? Did you mean them? When you called me an anchor? When you said I was holding you back? When you told me my poverty embarrassed you? Another pause. I was upset. That's not an answer. Fine. Maybe I meant some of it. But that doesn't mean you should cut me off financially. Actually, that's exactly what it means. I could hear Brad in the background, telling her to hang up, telling her she didn't need her loser father anyway. Jenny, let me ask you something. Do you remember your mother's last words to you? Dad, don't... She said, take care of your father. He's given everything for this family. Do you remember that? Yes. And what did you promise her? Dad, please stop. You promised you'd always be there for me, just like I'd always been there for you. You held her hand and made that promise. Silence. I kept my promise, I continued. I took care of you, paid for your college, helped with your rent, bought your clothes, fixed your car. For 27 years, I kept every promise I ever made to you. And I'm grateful. Are you? Yes. Then come home. What? Come home. Apologize. Not for your ambitions, but for abandoning me on that highway? For calling me an embarrassment? For choosing status over family? Dad, I can't just leave New York. This is my career. Then make a choice, your career or your family. But understand this. You can't have both without respecting both. You're giving me an ultimatum? I'm setting a boundary, same way your mother would have. Brad's voice got louder in the background. Something about not letting a blue-collar nobody dictate terms. I have to go, Jenny said. I love you, sweetheart, but love doesn't mean enabling disrespect. She hung up without saying goodbye. That afternoon I did something I should have done years ago. I changed the locks on my apartment. Not because I was angry. Because I was finally thinking clearly. For 3 years since Linda died, I'd been afraid of losing Jenny too. Afraid of being alone. So I'd tolerated disrespect, ignored red flags, enabled behavior that Linda never would have accepted. But sitting in that desert, reading Linda's letter, watching my daughter choose pride over love, I realized something important. I'd rather be alone than be someone's source of shame. The locksmith was a guy named Pete. We'd worked together on a few commercial jobs. You sure about this, Mike? This is pretty final. I'm sure. She'll try to come back eventually. They always do. Maybe. But when she does, she'll need to knock. Pete installed new deadbolts, changed the apartment office emergency contact from Jenny to Tom Anderson, updated my medical proxy, my insurance beneficiary, not out of spite, out of self-respect. That evening, I wrote Jenny an email, short, simple. Jenny, I've changed the locks. Your key no longer works. This isn't punishment, it's protection. Protection for both of us. When you're ready to have an adult relationship based on mutual respect, call me. We'll talk. Until then, I wish you success in your new life. Love, Dad. P.S. Your mother's jewelry is in a safety deposit box. When you're ready to honor her memory, instead of running from it, I'll give you the key. I hit send before I could change my mind. 5 minutes later, my phone rang. Jenny's number. I let it go to voicemail. She called 6 more times, left 3 messages, each one angrier than the last, demanding I stop being childish, threatening to never speak to me again if I didn't fix this immediately. The last message was different. Dad, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry I left you on the highway. I'm sorry I said those things, but this is crazy. You can't just cut me off. I'm your daughter, your only family. And like it or not, you need me as much as I need you. Wrong. For the first time in 3 years, I didn't need anyone. I was finally free to choose who deserved my love instead of giving it away out of fear. September 1st was 2 weeks away. Time to see if Jenny would choose to earn back what she'd thrown away, or if she'd learned nothing at all. She chose option 3. On August 28th, Jenny flew back to Vegas, didn't call ahead, didn't ask permission, just showed up at my apartment at 11 p.m. with 2 suitcases and an attitude. I heard the key turning, then the frustrated rattling when it didn't work, then the pounding. Dad, open this door right now. I was reading Linda's medical files, part of my preparation for the dedication ceremony, reviewing everything we'd been through, everything the hospital had done for us. Dad, I know you're in there. Your truck's in the parking lot. More pounding. I opened the door, chain still attached. Jenny. She looked terrible, exhausted, makeup smeared, designer clothes wrinkled like she'd slept in them. Let me in. Why are you here? Because you're being insane. Because this has gone too far. Because I'm your daughter, and you can't just lock me out of your life. I can, actually. Dad, please. I flew all the way from New York. Brad's furious. This is costing me everything. What do you want, Jenny? I want you to stop acting like a child. I want my credit card reinstated. I want my key back. I want things to go back to normal. Normal? Yes. Normal was you being ashamed of me. Normal was you calling me an anchor. Normal was you leaving me stranded in the desert while you flew off with your boyfriend. I apologized for that. Did you? She blinked. Yes, in my voicemail. You said you were sorry I got upset. That's not the same thing as being sorry for what you did. Fine. I'm sorry for what I did. Happy now? Are you? Am I what? Sorry for what you did. Not sorry you got caught. Not sorry there were consequences. Sorry for abandoning your father on a highway because his truck embarrassed you. Jenny looked down. For a moment I saw a flash of the little girl I'd raised, the one who'd cried when she accidentally broke her mother's favorite mug. I was scared, she whispered. Of what? Of being poor again, of struggling like you and Mom struggled, of watching you work 2 jobs and still not have enough money to fix your truck. So you decided to fix that by cutting me out of your life? I thought if I could just get established first, then I could help you later, buy you a new truck, get you a better apartment, make your life easier, by making you ashamed of me, by making me successful enough that your background wouldn't matter anymore. I almost believed her, almost. But then Brad's voice carried up from the parking lot. Jenny, what's taking so long? Just get your stuff and let's go. I looked past Jenny. Brad was leaning against a rental car. Mercedes, checking his Rolex, looking at my apartment complex like it might give him a disease. He's waiting, I said. Dad, please, just give me the key. Let me get my clothes. I promise we'll talk more when I get back to New York. No. What? No key, no clothes. No going back to the way things were. You can't be serious. Jenny, 3 years ago, when your mother was dying, you sat by her bedside every night. You held her hand. You promised her you'd take care of me. I was 18 years old. You were old enough to make a promise, old enough to mean it. People change, Dad. Yes, they do. But character doesn't. Either you have it or you don't. Brad honked the horn, twice. I have to go, Jenny said. I know. This isn't over. Yes, it is. I closed the door, turned the deadbolt, heard her crying in the hallway, heard Brad yelling at her to hurry up, heard their rental car drive away. I went back to Linda's medical files, back to preparing for the ceremony. 3 days. 3 days, until Jenny learned what her choices really cost her, if she bothered to pay attention. The next morning, Jenny launched her counterattack. Social media. At 6 a.m., my phone started buzzing with notifications. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Jenny had posted on all of them. The story she told wasn't exactly a lie, but it wasn't exactly the truth either. My heart is breaking today. My father, who I love dearly, is going through a difficult time since my mother's death 3 years ago. In his grief, he's pushing away everyone who cares about him, including me. I flew home from New York to surprise him, hoping to rebuild our relationship. Instead, I found he'd changed his locks and refused to let me into the apartment where I grew up. I'm sharing this because I know grief affects everyone differently. If you have an elderly parent or relative struggling with loss, please reach out to them. Don't let pride or stubbornness destroy your family like it's destroying mine. My father is a good man who's lost his way. I'm praying he finds it again before it's too late. Hash family hash. Grief hash. Love hash. Never give up. The post had 347 likes within an hour. Comments poured in. So sorry, Jenny. Your father is lucky to have such a caring daughter. Grief makes people do crazy things. Don't give up on him. You're such a strong person. Your mother would be proud. My phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Johnson? This is Sarah Mitchell from Channel 8 News. We saw your daughter's social media post and wondered if you'd like to comment on the family situation she described. I hung up. It rang again. Different number. Michael Johnson? This is the Las Vegas Review-Journal. We're doing a story about families torn apart by grief. Your daughter gave us your number. I hung up again. By noon, 3 news outlets had called. 2 neighbors had knocked on my door, offering to help mediate the family crisis. My supervisor at work pulled me aside to ask if I needed time off to deal with personal issues. Jenny was good. I had to give her that. But she'd made one crucial mistake. She'd told the truth about one thing. My mother really was proud of me. Linda. That afternoon, I called Dr. Patricia Williams, the oncologist who'd treated Linda, a woman who'd become like family during those 18 months of hell. Michael, how are you holding up? I'm fine, Dr. Williams, but I need to ask you something. Of course. Have you seen Jenny's social media posts? Pause. I have. What do you think? I think Jenny's painting a very incomplete picture. Would you be willing to set the record straight? How do you mean? The dedication ceremony is tomorrow. There will be media there. If someone asked you about the Johnson family, about Linda's wishes, about what really happened during her treatment, would you tell the truth? Another pause. Longer this time. Michael, Linda was my patient for 18 months. I watched you sacrifice everything for her care. I watched you sleep in hospital chairs. I watched you sell your possessions to pay bills insurance wouldn't cover. I watched you hold her hand while she died. And Jenny? Jenny visited on weekends when convenient, left when treatment got ugly, missed the last week entirely because she had final exams. Dr. Williams, I'm not asking you to attack my daughter. I'm asking you to honor my wife's memory. Linda's memory deserves better than social media manipulation. Yes, it does. I'll be at the ceremony tomorrow. If asked, I'll tell the truth about the family that fought cancer together, and the family member who chose to walk away when things got difficult. That evening, 3 more people called me, but these were different calls. Pete the locksmith. Mike, I saw that garbage your daughter posted. Anyone who knows you knows she's full of it. You need anything, you call me. My supervisor, Danny. Johnson, I don't know what's going on with your family drama, but I know you. You're solid. Don't let social media bullshit get to you. Tom Anderson. Michael, I saw Jenny's posts. Interesting strategy. Public sympathy to pressure you into backing down. Will it work? Not with anyone who matters. The hospital board knows your real story. They know what you and Linda went through. They know who you really are. And tomorrow, the truth comes out. All of it. I spent that night reading Linda's letter again and again. My wife had known. Somehow she'd known our daughter might choose pride over principle, status over substance, social media manipulation over genuine remorse. That's why she'd included the character clause. That's why she'd insisted on a public ceremony. Linda understood that some lessons can only be learned in public, with witnesses, with consequences that can't be undone or explained away. Tomorrow, Jenny would learn what her social media campaign really cost her, whether she bothered to show up or not.
September 1st, Dedication Day. I woke up at 5 a.m. and started gathering everything. Linda's letter, the original, handwritten on hospital stationery. Every word in her careful script, despite the morphine, despite the trembling hands. Bank statements. The trust fund balance, $2,847,832.15. Monthly interest, $11,899.43. Total growth since Linda's death, $347,892. Medical bills, a stack 2 inches thick. Presbyterian Hospital, Dr. Williams, oncology specialists, chemotherapy treatments, radiation therapy, surgery, home hospice care. Total, $125,847. College receipts, Jenny's tuition payments, $39,000 per year for 4 years. Books, housing, meal plans. Total, $156,000. All paid by me, working double shifts, selling everything I owned. Insurance policies, Linda's life insurance, $50,000. Used to pay off the house, keeping Jenny's college fund intact. Work records. My employment history at Henderson Electric, 25 years. Perfect attendance except for Linda's medical appointments. Overtime hours, holiday shifts, everything to keep the family afloat. Jenny's financial history. The credit card I'd been paying for 6 years. Balance, $8,234. Monthly payments, $247. Her car insurance, $189 per month. Cell phone, $85 per month. Emergency fund deposits, $200 per month for 8 years. Total investment in Jenny's future, $298,000, not counting the trust fund. The evidence was overwhelming. 27 years of documented sacrifice. Every receipt, every statement, every canceled check. Jenny's contribution to family expenses since turning 18, $0. At noon, I called the hospital. Presbyterian Hospital, how may I direct your call? Linda Johnson Memorial Fund dedication ceremony. I need to speak with the event coordinator. 1 moment, please. This is Margaret Chen, Director of Development. Miss Chen, this is Michael Johnson. Mr. Johnson, we're so honored to have you here today. The ceremony begins at 2 p.m. We have nearly 300 attendees confirmed. Media, Channel 3, Channel 8, the Review Journal, and several medical publications. This is the largest single donation in our hospital's history. Miss Chen, I need to ask you something. If my daughter attends today, and if she makes any public statements, how would you handle that? Mr. Johnson, we've seen the social media posts. Dr. Williams briefed us on the family situation. We understand this is complex. What does that mean? It means we know the real story. We know who Linda Johnson was. We know what you sacrificed for her care, and we know why she created this memorial fund. You know about the letter? Dr. Williams shared Linda's wishes with our board, not the details, but the spirit. This fund represents her values, character over status, service over self. We won't allow those values to be distorted. Thank you. Mr. Johnson, would you like to say a few words at the ceremony? About Linda? About what this fund means? I thought about it. Thought about Jenny's social media posts, her manipulation, her attempt to paint herself as the victim. Yes, I'd like that very much. At 1:30 p.m. I arrived at the hospital. Parking lot was full. News vans lined the street. A banner hung across the main entrance, Linda Johnson Memorial Cancer Research Fund, dedication ceremony. Inside the main conference room was packed. Hospital staff, board members, major donors, community leaders, cancer survivors, families who'd lost loved ones. Dr. Williams found me immediately. Michael, how are you feeling? Ready? Good, because Jenny's here. I looked across the room. There she was, back row, still in her New York clothes, still beautiful, Still my daughter, despite everything. Brad wasn't with her. She came alone, Dr. Williams observed. Smart move. She's been asking people about the memorial fund. Seems confused about something. She doesn't know. About the money? About any of it. The trust fund, the inheritance, the fact that her mother left her a fortune that's now going to save other people's lives instead. Dr. Williams smiled grimly. She's about to learn. Margaret Chen approached us. Mr. Johnson, we're ready to begin. You'll speak after the fund announcement. Keep it brief, but feel free to share whatever you feel is appropriate about Linda's vision. I will. And Mr. Johnson, whatever happens today, know that you're honoring your wife's memory in the most beautiful way possible. The ceremony began. Hospital president spoke first, thanked the mysterious donor, praised Linda's vision, explained how the fund would change cancer treatment at Presbyterian Hospital. Then Margaret Chen took the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce the man who made this miracle possible, the husband of Linda Johnson, the sole trustee of her estate, the man who chose to honor his wife's legacy by giving her entire inheritance to cancer research, Michael Johnson. I walked to the podium, looked out at the crowd, found Jenny's face in the back row. Her expression had changed. Confusion, fear, the beginning of understanding. I opened Linda's letter. 3 years ago, my wife wrote me a letter. 3 years ago, my wife wrote me a letter. She was dying. Cancer had taken everything from her except her voice, her clarity, and her love for our family. I held up the envelope, Linda's handwriting clearly visible to the cameras. She wrote this letter because she understood something about human nature, something about character, something about the difference between earning love and demanding it. Jenny was standing now, moving toward the front, her face pale. Linda came from a wealthy family, railroad money, mining money, old Nevada money that most people never knew about because Linda chose to live by her values instead of her bank account. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Cameras zoomed in on the letter. When Linda died, she left behind a trust fund worth $2.8 million. Money her grandmother had left her. Money she'd never touched because she believed in earning your own way. Jenny was halfway to the front now. I could see the recognition in her eyes. The growing horror. That money was meant for our daughter on her 30th birthday, with one condition. I unfolded Linda's letter, read directly from her handwriting. The money should only go to someone who embodies the values we raised her with, someone who sacrifices for others, someone who gives without expecting anything in return. Jenny stopped walking, stood frozen in the middle aisle. Linda wrote this letter because she feared our daughter might choose a different path, might choose status over family, wealth over character, pride over love. Dr. Williams stood up. Linda shared those fears with me. During her treatment, she watched her daughter become distant, more concerned with social status than family loyalty. The crowd turned to look at Dr. Williams, then back at me. On August 12th, my daughter abandoned me on Highway 95, left me stranded in the desert with a broken truck and no phone signal. She chose to catch a private jet to New York instead of waiting for help. Gasps from the audience. Cameras swiveled to capture Jenny's reaction. She called me from that jet, told me she was done with my blue-collar life, called me an anchor dragging her down, said my poverty embarrassed her. Jenny's mouth opened. No sound came out. I spent 18 months watching my wife die. Sold everything I owned to pay for her treatment, $125,000 in medical bills, most of it paid right here at Presbyterian Hospital. I pulled out the medical records, held them up. Dr. Williams treated Linda with dignity. The nursing staff worked overtime to keep her comfortable. Volunteers brought us coffee at 3 a.m., held our hands when we couldn't hold each other's. Dr. Williams nodded. Linda received the best care we could provide, but Michael's sacrifice made that care possible. He slept in our waiting rooms, worked double shifts to pay bills, never missed a treatment. And Jenny? I looked directly at my daughter. Jenny visited when convenient, left when treatment got ugly, missed Linda's final week because she had final exams. Jenny's face crumpled. She started to speak, but no words came. So when Jenny abandoned me on that highway, she made a choice. Character or status, family or finance, love or lies. I held up the trust fund documents. This morning I transferred the entire Linda Johnson Trust Fund to Presbyterian Hospital, $2,847,832.15. The crowd erupted. Applause, gasps, cameras flashing. Jenny screamed, "No!" The room fell silent. All eyes on my daughter. "You can't do that. That money was mine. Mom left it for me." I looked at her calmly. Did she? Yes, it was my inheritance. Read the letter, Jenny. Security guards had appeared, not to remove Jenny, but to protect her from the crowd's growing hostility. I don't need to read anything. That money belongs to me. Margaret Chen stood up. Actually, Miss Johnson, the trust fund belonged to your mother, with clear instructions about distribution based on character assessment. Character assessment? Dr. Williams joined Margaret. Your mother was very specific. The money should go to someone who embodies family values, someone who sacrifices for others. I'm her daughter. Yes, I said quietly. You are, and you chose to throw that away. Jenny looked around the room. 300 faces staring at her, cameras recording her breakdown, social media posts she couldn't control or delete. Dad, please, I made a mistake. I was scared. I was stupid. But you can't take away my mother's money. I didn't take it away, Jenny. You threw it away. On Highway 95. When you decided status mattered more than family. I'll fight this in court. Tom Anderson stood up from the audience. Miss Johnson, I drafted your mother's will. The character clause is ironclad. You have no legal standing. This is insane. You're all insane. She turned back to me, tears streaming, makeup ruined. Dad, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was wrong about everything. Please, don't do this. For a moment, I saw the little girl again, the one who'd helped me change oil in our garage, the one who'd made me Father's Day cards with crayon flowers. But then I remembered the contempt in her voice, the shame, the way she'd looked at me like I was garbage she needed to throw away. Jenny, your mother wrote something else in this letter. I read Linda's final paragraph aloud. If Jenny ever forgets who she really is, maybe losing everything will help her remember. Character isn't inherited, it's earned, every day. With every choice, I pray our daughter chooses wisely. Jenny collapsed into a chair, sobbed openly. The room was silent except for camera clicks and her crying. Margaret Chen broke the silence. The Linda Johnson Memorial Cancer Research Fund will save lives, fund breakthrough treatments, help families facing the same battle Linda and Michael fought together. Applause started slowly, then built. 300 people standing, honoring Linda's memory, honoring real sacrifice. Jenny sat alone, surrounded by witnesses to her public humiliation, her social media manipulation exposed, her character revealed. I walked over to her chair, knelt down, spoke quietly so only she could hear. Your mother's jewelry is still in the safety deposit box, her wedding ring, the necklace her grandmother gave her, things that matter more than money. Jenny looked up, eyes red and swollen. When you're ready to earn them back, call me. But understand this. Earning means proving character, not demanding forgiveness. Dad, I love you, Jenny. I'll always love you, but I'll never again enable disrespect. I stood up, walked back to the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, Linda's gift will research treatments that might have saved her life, might save other wives, mothers, daughters facing this terrible disease. More applause. Thank you for honoring her memory. Thank you for understanding that some things matter more than money. The ceremony ended. People shook my hand, thanked me, praised Linda's vision. Jenny sat alone until security helped her to the parking lot. She drove away in her rental car, back to New York, back to Brad, back to her new life. But now she knew the true cost of her choices. $2.8 million. And counting. That was 6 months ago. The Linda Johnson Memorial Cancer Research Fund has funded 3 breakthrough studies, new treatment protocols, better pain management, hope for families facing what we faced. Jenny never went back to New York. Brad broke up with her the day the ceremony aired on local news. Apparently dating someone who publicly loses a $3 million inheritance doesn't fit the Goldman Sachs image. She's living in Henderson now, working at a Starbucks, sharing a studio apartment with a roommate, learning what real life costs when you can't rely on other people's sacrifice. She calls every few weeks. Not to apologize, not really, but to ask about Linda's jewelry, about the safety deposit box, about earning back what she threw away. I tell her the same thing every time. Character isn't words, Jenny. It's actions. Prove you understand what you lost and we'll talk. Dr. Williams sends me updates about the fund. Research progress, lives saved, families helped. Linda would be proud. Tom Anderson handles the legal side. The fund is permanent, irrevocable. Jenny's 30th birthday came and went in March. No inheritance, no trust fund, no safety net. Just consequences. My apartment is still small. My truck still has that cracked windshield. I still work as an electrician, but I sleep better now. Because I finally understand what Linda meant about character. It's not what you inherit. It's what you choose to do when nobody's watching, when convenience conflicts with integrity, when love requires sacrifice instead of offering reward. Jenny chose poorly. The fun chose wisely. And Linda's memory lives on in every life saved by her gift. Some people would say I was too harsh, that family forgiveness should be unconditional, that money shouldn't matter more than blood. They're wrong. Love that enables disrespect isn't love. It's fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of standing up for yourself. Fear of demanding the respect you deserve. Linda's letter taught me something important.
Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is the natural consequence of their choices. Jenny abandoned me on Highway 95, so I returned the favor. Turns out, abandonment is a two-way street, and some roads, once traveled, change you forever. The question isn't whether Jenny will ever earn back my respect. The question is whether she'll ever earn back her own. Time will tell.